Hey guys, it's Will from Potato Strong here. I wanted to talk about calories today. A lot of people ask me how many calories I eat, and there's some other videos that other people are talking about that I like to just comment on as well. To answer that question, I basically don't count calories. There's a couple of videos I did where I tried to estimate them because people were asking me, but what I do is I focus on calorie density as much as possible. What that means is food has different calorie densities, so that means how many calories per pound. So if you focus on lower calorie density food, you can eat more of them, be full, satiated, and not really worry about over consuming. That's basically my philosophy, and that's come Jeff Novick, who's a registered dietitian with Dr. McDougall, kind of is the methodology that I follow. So I'm going to post a little graphic here, but if you have vegetables, there's a range 60 to 195 calories a pound, fruit 140 to 420, potatoes, pasta, rice, barley, yams, corn, hot cereal 320 to 630 calories a pound, beans and lentils cooked 310 to 780 calories a pound, bread, bagels, muffins, and dried fruit 920 to 1360 calories a pound, sugar 1200 to 1800 calories a pound, dried cereal, chips, crackers, and popcorn 1480 to 1760, and then you've got nuts and seeds at 2400 to 3200, and oil at 4000. Obviously, meat and dairy is up in the higher range as well if people are eating that. So the way I look at it is that you can eat more food if it's lower calorie density. So if you had people that were eating meat and dairy and oil and stuff like that, and you compared that to people that were eating a lower, fruits and vegetables and that, the people that eat fruits and vegetables could basically eat more food and still have, the same calories as somebody who was eating meat and dairy. So if somebody wants to eat meat and dairy oil and kind of watch their weight, they have to eat less of it. Now most people won't. Most people eat around 3 to 5 pounds of food a day. So if you're eating a lot of that stuff and the junk foods and that based on weight, you're going to eat, overconsume, and gain weight. So there's people that gain weight because they're eating the same basic amount of weight of food, but the density of the calories are higher. Or they want to keep their weight under check and they're reducing it, what they eat as far as how much. And then the exercise as well. So even if you're not vegan and you just want to eat food that, so you're happy and full and satiated, the best way to go, in my opinion, is just to focus on the lower calorie density foods. So that's basically it in a nutshell. So it just simplifies everything because you don't have to weigh everything and count calories and that. If you wanted to do, some of the foods that you always eat, you could do an estimate. I did that on my cereal, and it was like 700 or 800 calories. And I think the tacos, I did an estimate on that video. So once you get a general sense, you can, just go with that. But every day, you're eating different food, and it would be pretty difficult. You might go out occasionally, and I just feel like focus on lower calorie density food simplifies everything. A couple other things I wanted to talk about: calories in and out, and metabolism and stuff like that. There's some studies that show when people restricted them, if you restricted their calories, they gain weight. Like there's animal studies as well. I'm not a huge fan of animal studies, but there's studies that show if you restrict the calories and then put them back on a regular diet, that they actually gain more weight, more fat. So for a period of time, there's an adjustment. And I can accept that, but it can also confuse people because if they're eating too many calories, they might blame it on the fact that, well, I used to diet or restrict myself. So I think really knowing what you're eating and checking your body fat and that is going to help. Because I see so many posts like They don't know if it's water weight or their salt, retaining water from salt, or um, is it the adjustment period? Like what's happening? And so, as much as we want to tell people like you can eat a lot of carbs, and it's not easy for that to turn to fat. If you overeat continuously on a regular basis, even if it's high carb, you'll gain weight. So we don't want anybody restricting calories or dieting or eating small portions and being hungry and trying to do that type of thing. But there's also, so the message is always like carb up, eat all this carbs, which is great. It's gonna make you lean, but if you're eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day and you're not exercising that much, you're gonna gain weight. So your metabolism, when you restrict your calories, your metabolism adjusts, and so when you go back to a normal diet, your metabolism, you'll be storing more fat. So that means your carbs are being turned to fat. There's actually a mechanism in the body, de novo lipogenesis, and that generally doesn't convert much carbs to fat. But if you did restrict, then these things adjust. If you look at people that are eating, Atkins or something like that, they're eating a lot of fat. Your body will start to burn the fat using as energy, ketones, and so it's not a static situation. Your metabolism adjusts. So if you overeat calories, there's some studies that all the excess carbs get burned off as heat. Those were only 96-hour studies. Short term, your body can't deal with the excess, and it'll release some heat. But over time, those calories will get stored. That carbs, they'll be converted. So there's a couple of pathways. The glucose can get converted into fat, and also in the liver, it can convert fructose into fat as well, triglycerides. So there's a couple of mechanisms there. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of other benefits to eating carbs as far as calories go. There's, how it's 4 calories per gram. That's an average. So a lot of the fruit and vegetables are actually less than that. They might be just above 3 or so calories per gram. So, you're overestimating the calories if you're eating carbs, because a lot of them aren't actually 4 calories per gram. There's also this thing called resistant starch. So not all the calories can be absorbed by the body. So there are definitely differences between, a calorie, which is something that was burned in a lab, the food was burned, versus what your body can actually digest. So there's the fiber and all the benefits of resistant starches, the lower calories per gram of a lot of carbs than 4. So, you can definitely eat more carbs, and you're not going to have as many problems with fat storage. But we have to be objective and sort of realistic here and say, don't, just because you can eat carbs doesn't mean you can smash in 5,000 calories a day if you're sitting around. Now, some people think you can't really do that if you're not exercising, because your body won't really want to do that. But what's happening is people are blending food. They blend bananas and dates and things like that. That's great maybe once, in the morning. I wouldn't really recommend it if you can eat your food whole, like eat whole bananas and stuff like that. But what's happening is you're blending it, you're breaking down some of the fiber, you're drinking it. You can definitely overconsume. If you're drinking juices and stuff like that and smoothies, you can definitely power in calories even if you're not exercising. And that stuff is going to, add to your weight gain. One of the things that you have to think about as well is a lot of foods like fruit and vegetables, they're going to have, an average of 10%, 5-10% fat if you're not eating nuts and things like that. So if you overconsume 1,000 calories, let's say, and 10% is fat, even high carb, that's 100 calories a day. So in a month or so, that's a pound a month. If you need like 2,000 calories and you're eating 4,000 calories, that's 200 calories a day at 10%. That you're going to gain. So, that's a couple of pounds a month. So people can gain 10, 20 pounds, even if it's not the carbs that are really turning to fat, but everything has some fat in it. So, and then there's a lot of people that are actually eating nuts and seeds and a lot of those. So I think really understanding what you're eating and that. So you really don't need to be powering in that food. I think if you eat foods whole, like I say, on the lower calorie density range, you'll be satiated, and you just by nature you won't be overeating. But when you start, blending everything and drinking a lot of concentrated juices and dried fruits and things, it can really jack up the calories. So at the end of the day, you got to look at yourself and, is it working? I can debate. There's two sides to everything, and people can debate till the cows come home. But at the end of the day, you got to look at it and say, is it working for you? I find that the starch-based diet's really working for me. The potatoes are very filling. I still eat fruit. I eat salad, beans, and everything like that. But, I avoid everything else pretty much. And that's really working for me. If you can eat just all fruit, raw, mostly raw or all raw, then that's great. But if you want to eat some cooked food and you have some questions or you're having issues, let me know. I've been doing since July 2013. I've been really looking into this, and it can get complicated as far as metabolism goes. And so my basic understanding now is that metabolism can change. It's dynamic. You can burn more fat at times. You can burn more carbs, but the general understanding in normal situations is that the carbs aren't going to that easily turn into fat. There's some excess there that is reasonable, but don't go crazy. Blending everything, and it's good to see some people moving towards a more reasonable approach. There's some people that were saying, eat as much as you want, and I don't think that's really the message that we want to be sending. You can eat a good amount of food with the lower calorie density foods, fruit and vegetables and legumes, but there's no need to really overconsume, and that message is a little bit hidden in some scenarios because we don't want people restricting, so we just say eat as much carbs, high carbs as you want, and I think there is a limit to it, and if you eat whole foods, you're probably going to be okay, and you stay on the lower end of it. So hopefully that helps you guys. I just wanted to give my comments on calories in and out because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. So let me know if you have any questions or comments or requests for new videos, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe so you'll be notified with new videos. And if you are a subscriber, thanks, and hopefully you'll like the video. Click on the like button and share this with everybody so we can spread the message. Okay guys, have a good day. See you later.